Know when you are on this. Okay. Hi. Hi everyone, welcome to Bootcamp. We're doing a webinar this year, so thanks for joining us. My name is Madeline Russo. I'm an industry programmer here at Hot Docs, and I run the Dealmaker program, Closeups, which will explain what those are a little bit later on, in the Jazeera pitch. So today we're going to give you the inside scoop on industry at Hot Docs. Maybe you've attended before, maybe you're new, but in any case, welcome. So as I mentioned, I'm Madeline. I'm going to get the team to introduce themselves, and then I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in the session.
I'm Julian. I oversee the distribution marketplace at Hot Docs, which encompasses distribution Rendezvous and the doc shop. And again, I'll also elaborate on those later. And I've also recently been doing some work with the funds team, although my colleague Elena is much more primarily involved with that, and I'll let her perhaps speak on that as well as the conference.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name's Elena DeCock, and I'm also an industry programmer here at Hot Docs. As Julian mentioned, most of the time, year-round, I work on our funds team, as does our other colleague Heidi Taoyang, who'll be joining us soon. But this time of year, my main hat is the Hot Docs Industry Conference, which we're going to go through in a lot more detail, but this is a 5-day session of workshop masterclasses and learning events that is designed for you. So I'll pass it over to Stephanie.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Stephanie MacArthur, and I'm Industry Programs Manager. And some of the big stuff that I work on at festival time is our Doc Accelerator Lab, which is a program for emerging filmmakers, as well as our International Delegations Program, which brings in filmmakers and industry from around the world to come to Hot Docs.
So in this session, we're going to outline our programs at the festival, but also year-round. We're going to give you tips and tricks on taking advantage of all the opportunities that industry has to offer, and we'll be taking questions at the end. So we're streaming live on YouTube. Jump in the comments and ask us questions, and we'll try to answer them all at the very end of the session. So we're going to be talking all about industry, but I want to give you a little bit of information about Hot Docs Festival and audience, and if you're premiering with us, what to expect from the people who attend the festival. So a quarter of our films are Canadian films. We invite all of our selected directors to attend the festival, and last year we gave away over $200,000 in awards and prizes at the festival, in the market and in the festival. So 63 world premieres, 48 international premieres last year, and we'll be announcing the film schedule at our press conference in about mid-March. A little bit of information on our festival audience. So last year we had 228,000 attendees for a city of 2.7 million people. Those are not bad odds. We have a really great sense of community around the festival, especially in this neighborhood around Bathurst and Lawrence, Spadina and Bloor. There's like lineups around the block for many of the films. We have really a lot of really great community partners, so other festivals, cultural organizations, nonprofits, and community centers. We offer free tickets for students and seniors before 5 p.m. every day of the festival, and also free tickets for newcomers. And we've seen significant audience growth in the last 10 years, which is very exciting. We're always growing, we're always expanding, we're always doing new things. Some quick takeaways from our audience festival demographics. Our audiences tend to be quite educated. They're mostly women. One of my colleagues once said, if you're wondering who's watching your film at Hot Docs, they're usually a woman who's smarter than you are, which is usually the case. The demographics are also evenly split amongst income and age. This is quite unique to a Hot Docs audience. So at other festivals, audience tends to skew quite older, but our audience is very diverse and reflects the city that we live in to a great extent. So I want to jump into talking about industry, and I want to start by talking about our flagship program at industry, which is the Hot Docs Forum. So this is a program in which 300 decision makers, so broadcasters, buyers, sales agents, distributors, film funds come to the festival to watch 20 projects pitch live to a massive room, Hogwartsian style room. And this year we had 278 submissions from over 50 countries. Applications are now closed, but the application time frame, so it typically tends to be end of October to beginning of January. And the forum takes place on the Tuesday, May 5th and Wednesday, May 6th of the festival. There are a number of prizes for projects that pitch at the forum, or a number of prizes that the projects are up for at the forum. So one of them is the Cuban Hat Prize, which is a real cash, no strings attached support for winners of the Cuban Hat, in which they receive money at the forum. These could also be gifts in kind, services, and the winner is determined by observer ballot. We also have the Chorus Pitch Prize for the forum, which is a $10,000 prize for Canadian films and Canadian treaty co-productions, and it's decided by a different group of commissioning editors every year, and they decide on the winner after 2 days of watching. And lastly, we have the First Look Prize. So Hot Docs First Look is a curated access program for philanthropic supporters of and investors in documentary film that grants behind-the-scenes access to the world of documentary. So prizes are underwritten and awarded by participating First Look partners, and in the last 3 years, they've awarded $275,000 to 7 projects. So the kind of process of being selected for the forum is that projects are shortlisted and go to committee, and we select the 20 projects that are selected to pitch in the end. And then selected projects are then given about 2 months of pitch training, 1 consultation session per week, or 2, depending on the film team, via Skype or phone, covering everything from attending buyers and festival and sales strategy to pitch strategy and how to present oneself in a venue such as this, in a setting such as this. And this training is done by our forum producer, Dorota Leck, directly. So if you've applied to the forum, stay tuned for results. You should know by the end of February. And our forum announcement, so our public announcement of those projects will happen in April. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Dealmaker. Dealmaker is the program that I run, and it's a one-on-one meeting program for producers who are seeking development and production financing from the international marketplace. We choose 35 projects to meet with commissioning editors, acquisitions executives, funds, and foundations. And the forum projects also take their post-forum pitch meetings in Dealmaker. Again, Dealmaker is closed. We're currently assessing the projects. But for next year, things to consider are that we're looking for brilliant storytelling, commercial and international projects that have commercial and international appeal, those that are suitable for decision makers' mandates and their key requirements, and those that are relevant to their broadcast channels and slots. Projects, as I said, can be in development or production, sometimes in post, and in any genre of documentary or factual. So we're also looking for any range of documentary. So these could be high art and culture projects, science projects, wildlife projects, series. So you can submit up to 2 projects per production company. And as I said, we accept feature-length docs, TV docs, so hour-long docs for TV series, as well as interactive work and cross-platform media. Applications are closed, but those who everyone will find out, but those who've been accepted will find out by March 13th. And at that time, you'll have the opportunity to select the buyers that you want to meet with and confirm your project information. So if you are thinking of applying to the forum or Dealmaker next year, we just have some kind of like hot tips to consider, questions to consider in writing your application to us. There is an online form that asks for very specific details, but it's always very mindful to think. We ask you to be mindful of certain considerations, and those are what are we going to see on screen for 90 minutes? That questions should be answered clearly within your treatment? Can you articulate the international, universal, or human appeal of your story? Can you differentiate your story's unique value in comparison to other films on the same topic? Can you be fluent in international broadcasters and buyers' needs and slots, and can you familiarize yourself with their successes? And can you adjust your expectations to where securing funding within a shifting viewership? The funding model has changed for documentary. So we live in the golden age of docs right now, but filmmakers have to be more savvy than ever to find financing in new ways. If you are not in the forum, you're not in Dealmaker, you didn't get into any of those programs, but you're still attending the festival and you have an all access pass and you're attending the forum to watch, you can participate in Closeups, and those are a great way to meet buyers, even if you didn't have meetings organized on behalf of us with them. So these are 30-minute info sessions. They're not an opportunity for you to pitch your project, but they're an opportunity for the buyers involved to talk a little bit about what they're looking for, what their broadcast remit is, and for you to ask questions, and then the discussion is moderated by a moderator. So that person kind of has your best interests at heart and they'll ask the questions, but they also ask questions on behalf of you so that you know what information you need from broadcasters or funders before you pitch to them. So these meetings take place after the forum on the 5th and 6th in the afternoon, and sessions that are already confirmed are Arte GEIE, Arte France, Al Jazeera English, PBS POV, Chicken and Egg, Impact Partners, and CBC Documentary Channel. I will stop talking soon, but the last slide that I wanted to just speak to is we are very excited to announce our first ever Al Jazeera short pitch. So 6 teams will be chosen to pitch at the festival, and at least one project will be awarded up to $50,000 USD for a full commission. And then the winning project will premiere on the Witness strand of Al Jazeera across TV and online. Applications are open now. They opened yesterday and they close March 13th. And Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and those with refugee status in Canada can apply. So please visit our website and click on pitch in order to find the information. I'm going to go to the monitor and start tracking questions, but I'm going to pass it over to Julian to continue.
Thank you, Madeline. So some of you may have attended the festival in the past, either as filmmakers or as industry delegates. But for those of you who are new, I'll take a moment to talk a little bit about, broadly speaking, what the hot docs industry can do for you. So when you're attending hot docs as an industry delegate, first and foremost, it's a opportunity for networking, to build relationships, to create new partnerships within the industry. It's an opportunity for you to market your film, and again, that's true whether you're formally part of the official festival selection or whether your film is in production. It's an opportunity, obviously, to pitch it if you are part of our formal pitch opportunities like Dealmaker and like Distribution Rendezvous, as I oversee, but it's also an opportunity to do a lot of soft pitching in our social spaces. Oftentimes, hot docs is where your film will get most of its coverage, especially if you are in the festival. It's a great opportunity for media attention, to get reviews, and just sort of help launch your film into the festival space, especially if it's making its festival run. As Madeline mentioned, we attract over 300 decision makers each year and about 2,500 industry delegates. So there's a really strong and robust community of people to connect with. And this is our 27th year overall of running the festival. So it's a well-established, quite well-oiled machine at this point. In terms of which opportunities are still open for participation for this year, because some, as Madeline mentioned, have closed already. Distribution Rendezvous is still open. That's the program that I oversee, and submissions to that are available until March 12th. Our industry conference is also something that you can participate in. There's no deadline to sort of sign up for that. That's ongoing throughout the festival. So if you are attending as a delegate, you can look at it for our schedule that will be up in the coming weeks, and you can choose the sessions that are most relevant to you. And then, as Madeline mentioned, there are also our close-up sessions, which have sign-ups on the day. So those are on the 5th and 6th. March, and you can, or of May rather, and you can see which decision makers are scheduled when, and make your choices on those days. So now I'll tell you a little bit more about Distribution Rendezvous, which is our distribution-focused pitch program that I oversee. It is a series of one-on-one speed dating style meetings with sales agents and distributors. These meetings are 20 minutes each, and they are pre-arranged. So if you submit to Rendezvous, you have an opportunity to select which of the participating decision makers you'd like to meet with, and they can then review your submission. And if they think that your film is a fit for their mandate, they can approve those meetings, at which point we schedule it all for you, and you then are able to meet with several decision makers in quick succession. So it's a nice way to get a sense of how different distributors and sales agents might be able to work with you and achieve your goals for your film. And it's a program that's open to feature docs, TV docs, series, and interactive and cross-platform media. There's a list of buyers that we'll be publishing on the Hot Docs website. That's ongoing, so some are already registered and are up there on the industry tab, and we will add new buyers as they continue to register. What is unique about Rendezvous that I like to mention is that we actually don't do internal filtering in a way that we do with some of our other programs. So when you submit a project to Rendezvous, as I mentioned, you have the direct opportunity to make meeting requests to buyers, and it's the buyers themselves who will review your project submission and decide whether they think that it's a fit for their mandate. And that means that when you do have an approved meeting through the program, you can go into those meetings with some confidence that this is an intentional meeting that's happening because the buyer has expressed personal interest. So we find that is a nice way to foster productive and productive and intentional meetings. Something to bear in mind when you're considering, if you are submitting to Rendezvous, when you're considering which decision makers you want to request meetings with, is to ask how your film fits into their catalog, and whether or not you want your film to fit into their catalog. So at the very least, we encourage you to go to their websites, that's the sales agents or distributors website, look at some other films that they've worked with in the past, and think about how your film might relate to their output to date. If you know any filmmakers who've worked with them in the past, it's always a good idea to reach out, get some references, get a sense of what it's like to collaborate with that company or that person. And also just consider both what is going to be in it for you if you do decide to partner with them, and likewise what would be in it for them. So all questions to bear in mind when you're requesting your meetings, rather than taking a scattershot approach. We find that you're going to get more out of your meetings if you're able to ask yourself those questions beforehand. Rendezvous this year will be held on Monday, May 4th. And for this program, actually all that is required is a conference and networking pass. So the forum and Dealmaker require an all-access pass. Rendezvous is slightly different. You're eligible to participate with a conference and networking pass. I'll also say a little bit about our doc shop, which is our industry-facing screening library. It's sort of a complementary program to Rendezvous in that both Rendezvous and the doc shop are platforms for you to expose your film to potential buyers. So in the case of the doc shop, this is an online space as well as a physical space during the festival. We have a screening library in the industry center where delegates can go to catch up on films that are both part of the official selection, as well as some films that are not in the official selection, but are either representatives of delegations that are attending the festival or are Hot Docs Recommends titles. And these are films that our programmers have flagged that may not have made it into the official selection for one reason or another, but are nonetheless strong titles with sales potential. And so we like to carve out a space in the doc shop to give those films a platform and some potential exposure that way. If you are attending the festival as a delegate with a conference and networking or an all-access pass, you'll be able to log into the doc shop or attend the on-site viewing library and screen films there. And in recent years, we've been expanding the access window for the doc shop. So if you are a festival delegate, you now have until the end of May to catch up on films. And if you are a buyer, we actually give you access all year round. So if you're a filmmaker with a project on the doc shop, know that there are multiple opportunities for buyers to see your films. Some of them are quite busy during the festival itself, and so for that reason, we give them extended access so that they have a chance to catch up once they are back home from the festival. Other notes about the doc shop, so participation is by invitation only, meaning either you're part of the official selection, in which case you receive an invitation to the doc shop automatically, or you are with a participating delegation, in which case you'll be invited to submit a film to the doc shop, or again, in that third case, if you are part of our Hot Docs Recommend selection, we will reach out to you the invitation to participate. And I think that's probably all of the key points on the doc shop. One further note, actually, if you are an alumni of our Doc Accelerator program, there is a special playlist on the doc shop for Doc Accelerator alums. So it's free to include your films on the doc shop if you are in that category. And I'll say a bit more as well about our online community, which is sort of the hub and the central point at which your delegate experience will around which your delegate experience will revolve. It's the space where you can plan your festival and connect with other delegates. You'll receive your login credentials after you register, and you can then use the online community to see who else is attending the festival. You can search by professional categories. So if you're looking specifically for buyers or for commissioners, you can use filters to see who's attending the festival in those categories. You can find fellow filmmakers, you can find media representatives, and many delegates include contact information in their online community profiles so that you can reach out to them to set up meetings. The online community is also where you'll find registration links for our industry programs. So that's where you'll go to request your Dealmaker and distribution rendezvous meetings. Access to the online community is available to delegates throughout the year, so it's a great resource to return to following the festival. If you, for instance, encountered someone at the festival and didn't exchange cards, oftentimes you can find their contact info on the online community after the fact. And with that, I will hand it over to Elena to talk a little bit more about how to make the most of your meeting at the festival.
Thanks, Julian. Hello, everyone. And in case you are just joining in, my name is Elena DeCock. I'm an industry programmer, and I'm going to chat with you a little bit on how to make the most of your meetings. And then I'm going to talk about the Hot Docs Industry Conference. So first, how to make the most of your meetings. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Julian talked a lot about how you can research buyer profiles. For example, look at their catalog online first. Look at who is attending the festival as well, so that you can go and research those catalogs. Find out perhaps what they have. This particular buyer has bought out of Hot Docs in the past. So this is all really great information in order to make the most of your meetings. Think ahead. Instead of short-term games, think of long-term connections. And this is very much in terms of we're speaking of when we're talking about short-term games and we're talking about long-term connections. Try not to think about what the buyer or even the person that you meet at a social networking event can do for you in the immediate short term. That they may not be necessarily obvious, but this is potentially a person that you will work with in the long-term future. Perhaps this is even a person that you will collaborate with in the long-term future. So try to be organic as possible with your connections. And part of that process of being organic is also to kind of figure out where you need to be at the festival, or where you would like to be at a festival at a certain time. So in terms of thinking ahead and preparing ahead, also think and plan your schedule as well. So before I recommend a week and a half to a week before the festival, you can go online, you can look at all the different schedules for Distribution Rendezvous, Closeups, as Madeline mentioned, industry conference sessions. There is also a lot of networking sessions. You can look this all up in advance and kind of plan for yourself a little schedule so that you can kind of figure out where you need to be and when and how you can make the most of your time. And one way of how you can make the most of your time is network. Take advantage of all the events that are open to you, some great events that are available to you with your conference and networking pass or above are things like our happy hour sessions, which are just 1.5 hour, they're called happy hour, but they're actually happy hour and a half, sessions that take place in what we affectionately call the tent, which is actually just a tent outside of Victoria College. And there's other sessions, like there is, if you look at our industry guide, you'll see that there are a lot of sessions that take place in the evening as well. And also don't forget to network at film screenings. Go see films, go talk to the person beside you. You'd be surprised who you may be sitting beside, and you already have something there to talk about, something of mutual interest. So that's also a great way to meet new colleagues, collaborators, and friends, is to go to screenings and talk to people in line. All right, switching over to the conference. Another great place where you can meet people is at the Hot Docs Industry Conference. So the Hot Docs Industry Conference is a 5-day conference featuring programming for documentary professionals of all levels. It includes masterclasses, panels, practical sessions, interactive workshops that offer practical, creative, and business tools for working within the rapidly changing documentary landscape. Madeline said something really lovely earlier in this webinar. She said that we live in the golden age of documentary, but that means that filmmakers have to be even more savvy in terms of how they finance their documentary. And one of the ways that you can learn and develop that savvy is at the Hot Docs Industry Conference. So the conference this year runs from Monday, May 4th to Friday, May 8th. Every day the sessions run anywhere between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And it takes place primarily at Victoria College. So wherever you pick up your industry badge, there is kind of 2 or 3 key locations, I should say rather. On the floor above, there is the space we affectionately call the chapel, which because it's actually an old chapel. And then there's also the Northrop Fry building right across the pedestrian pathway. And then there's also the tent. If you were looking for information on the accessibility of these venues, it's actually also available on our Hot Docs website as well. If you're a filmmaker, the conference has inspirational creative sessions for filmmaking at every stage of your project, from finding your funding all the way to your film's festival strategy. Some past topics include the art of the interview. Last year we did a masterclass with doc filmmaker Nan-Fu Wang when she was here for her film One Child Nation. And actually, if you, I'm not sure if we're on the slide or not, but if you look to the slide, we've pictured our Hot Docs cinema programmer Sarah Lilloon MacArthur in conversation with Julia Ivanova and recent Oscar winner filmmaker Julia Reichardt. If you're interested in more of the business doc side of things, the conference also highlights programmers, broadcasters, and film funders from all over the world who are at the forefront of change in the industry. So past topics include strategic partnerships for international co-productions, and a super popular one that's on Vimeo from 2 years ago, the do's and don'ts of funding applications. Okay, so how do you access the conference? You require a minimum of a conference badge. So you can also, a conference and networking and all access pass also give you access to the Hot Docs Industry Conference. It is first come, first serve. That means that there is no pre-registration. You show up on time to get the best seat in the house, so to speak. And also, we recommend that you get there a minimum of around 15 minutes in advance to ensure that you have access to the session. One thing I should also mention, if you, for example, cannot attend the entire industry conference, or you are looking for a pass that's slightly less than the conference pass, there's also our Kickstart Pass, which is a 1-day pass that we sell to the Hot Docs Industry Conference, specifically Wednesday, May 6th. Yes, Wednesday, May 6th. Wednesday, May 6th, so that's right in the middle of the conference, we program a day specifically for emerging filmmakers, and that's usually 3 to 4 sessions that you can access with that one pass. Again, somewhere between the times of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. You're like, well, how am I going to plan my schedule if you keep saying between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.? You look at our full programming for the Hot Docs Industry Conference, which will be released on our website on April 1st, after a week after our festival's film programming is announced. So please check back on our website then. And I am going to pass it over to Stephanie MacArthur. Oh no, sorry, I lied.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's okay. Hi everyone. My name is Patty Taoying. I'm the Industry Funds Manager, and we do lots of things year round as well, and one of them is the funds. So I'm assuming a lot of you out there are doc makers and are looking for money to fund your projects. Well, you've come to the right place. I would say in the last couple of weeks, or maybe it was even last week, we just announced a whole slew of films that we just funded. And it's a huge chunk of money. We funded over $300,000 to 27 projects. But what we actually did in the past 12 months is, through our funds, $400,000 to 32 projects from all over the world. And those of you tuning in might be from Canada, and we have funds for that too. So let me break down the different funds that we currently have. So we have 5 active funds. One of them is the Hot Docs Ted Rogers Fund. So this is a Canadian fund for Canadian productions. And the key criteria is that you gotta be in production. Maybe you just finished development, but you have to have a market partner. So market partner is anyone that's like a broadcaster or a distribution company that's signed on to say, I promise that I'm going to disseminate your film to audiences. So that's one of the key criterias, and we will fund up to $20,000 for a project. And the application dates are twice a year. We haven't announced what those are quite yet for all of our funds, but stay tuned, sign up for our e-bulletin, and we'll let you know as soon as we can. Our other fund is the Hot Dogs. We're not a hot dog company. Hot Docs. Blue Ice Group Fund. So this is a fund for projects where the producer and director lives and works in Africa. It's a $2.35 million fund, and we just gave away $115,000 to 10 projects that we're super excited about, because we will be inviting 5 projects to come here as fellows. We have a very robust year-round mentorship. We bring them to Hot Docs. We take them to the Durban Film Festival, and we just incubate their projects and workshop them. So for you Canadians out there, we also have the Cross Currents Doc Fund. So this is broken up into 3 different ways. One is the shorts and interactive and experimental stream. So you have to be an emerging filmmaker, which means that you've made a project, you've made 3 or less professional credits, and that your short or interactive project experience is 40 minutes or less. Then we'll fund up to $10,000 of your project. We also have a theatrical stream as well for Cross Currents, and again, that's feature film. But the key thing for these international streams for your short or your feature is that we're looking for projects where you're telling the story from within an underrepresented community. So that's however you define underrepresented community. And we have those guidelines online. And for that project, we'll give up to $30,000 a year for a project, or 2. That totals up to $30,000. And the last stream for Cross Currents is the Cross Currents Canada stream. So this is also for emerging filmmakers that have made 3 professional credits or less. But here's the really exciting thing, is that we'll fund your project that's short or feature, that's whether you're in development, production, or post-production. It's one of the few grants out there, no strings attached, where we support short form filmmaking. So that's really exciting. You should check out, this is, we're going into our 3rd year, so you should check out some of the films that we funded in the past. And I should also mention that these applications are available in English and in French, and you have the option to also do a video application if that is how you would like to present your project. And Elena here speaks French. Salut! So those are our grants for our funds. That's year-round. What I'll also mention is that we have a fund called Hot Docs Equity. So this is not soft money, but hard money. We're looking to potentially invest in films. And recently we just premiered 3 of them. I'm saying premiered like we did the work, but filmmakers who did the hard work premiered at Sundance. So one of them is called Softy, that we also funded through some of our other funds and our other market programs. We have Influence, and we also have Once Upon a Time in Venezuela. So you should check out those films as well. What we also do year-round is a lot of resources that you can check out to help you have resources as a filmmaker. So as Elena mentioned before, we have these conference sessions, and they're recorded, some of them, and they're available online. So that's part of our knowledge capture. You should check those out. They're free. You can learn so much, especially the parts where the do or don'ts of funding, which is really helpful when you're doing applications for us. We have publications as well. So these are PDF documents on topics such as pitching, budgeting, co-production, and we keep working on more. So if you have ideas on what you would like to see, please let us know. And we have a section on our website called Hot Docs Jots. So this is our blog, which Madeline curates, and we have a lot of interviews with our alum filmmakers. We have guest bloggers. Madeline can tell you all about it, but it's a really good resource that you can check out online, and you should really sign up for our e-bulletin as well, where this information disseminates.
Yeah. So again, if you've joined since we started, I'm Stephanie MacArthur, and I'm Industry Programs Manager. And the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is our Doc Accelerator program, which is actually part of our Canadian Storytellers Project. It's a 3-pronged project that's supported by Netflix. One prong of it is the Cross Currents Canada Fund that Heidi already talked about. The other prong is our Doc Ignite program, which brings our workshops and us to cities across, and not just cities, like towns, wherever across Canada, to bring real market intelligence and industry knowledge to underserved communities. So if you have a community out there you'd like to see us come to, you can also be in touch, and we can see if that's something we can organize. And then the third part is the Doc Accelerator program. So this is a 2-part program that happens during and after Hot Docs. The first part is an industry lab where we select a group of emerging Canadian filmmakers, as well as some of our filmmakers we're supporting through our Cross Currents Fund, to come and really take part in a bunch of private career advancement sessions where they learn about story, about pitching, about funding, all of those things. And then they also come and attend the festival. So they get all access passes. They get to come and see the pitching at the forum. They get to go to networking events, to meet people, to have meetings with people. So it's a really great opportunity. And then the second half of that is actually a paid mentorship placement that happens following the lab itself. And so that's a really amazing opportunity for people to address specific personal learning goals and to be paid for that time that they're taking to learn. So it's really great because it allows people to push forward their career without having to decide between paying their bills and education. Unfortunately, it's already closed the applications for it for this year, but we do anticipate that applications will open in November for the 2021 program, and they usually close about mid-January. If you did submit already for this year and you're waiting to hear, we're expecting to be able to be in touch with everyone by the first week in March with our responses there. So stay tuned for that. And I should also mention that we tried to, or the Doc Accelerator program, the open call for that is specifically aimed at a couple of priority groups. So that includes filmmakers who are people of color, filmmakers who are Indigenous, Black filmmakers, filmmakers who are living with a disability or who are deaf, or Francophone filmmakers. So that's really who we're trying to serve with the open call for that program.
If I can just, I forgot to mention that for the Cross Currents Canada Doc Fund, we have the same priority groups.
So we talked already a lot about how to, make the most of your meetings, how to pitch your project, all the opportunities that there are. Heidi talked about this a little, but really just like, where do you meet people when you come to Hot Docs as a first-time attendee? So we have our main industry center, which is at Victoria College, which is part of the University of Toronto. And that's the building where the conference happens, where you pick up your pass. It's also where we have our main delegate lounge. So there's a place there that you can go. It's open kind of all day and you can book your meetings. And it's a great place to kind of meet people, sit down, bump into people, whatever it is. We also have just outside Victoria College our networking tent. So that's available during the day as well for overflow space to book meetings. Sometimes we have beautiful weather during Hot Docs, so it's great to be kind of in that more outside setting sometimes. And you can book meetings in there as well. And we also use the tent for a lot of networking events during the festival. So we have a daily happy hour that happens from Sunday, May 3rd through Thursday, May 7th. And if you have a conference network or all access pass, you get access to that. And those are really the prime networking events during the festival. That's where everyone is, no matter kind of who they are, what level they are within the industry. If you want to meet people, this is the place to meet them. We also have other special events that happen every evening, different places celebrating different things, and you'll have all of that information available in our industry guide and on the website as soon as that's available. But you do need to make sure, if you want to attend those, you have to have the conference network or all access pass to attend those. But remember, it's not just about meeting people. It really is, as Elena said, about building those long-term partnerships and about thinking kind of outside the box in those partnerships. Don't just focus on meeting with decision makers and trying to sell your film. Think also about potential collaborators, and not just filmmakers, cinematographers, musicians, composers. There's lots of amazing people you can meet at Hot Docs that you can really build relationships with and collaborations with to move your career forward. So the real trick and the real secret to making your film is to watch lots of films. The more you watch, the more inspired you're going to be, the more you're going to understand storytelling and all of that. So one of the great things about having a pass to come to Hot Docs as an industry delegate is you also get access to screenings. So the Kickstart Pass that Elena mentioned does not have access to screenings, but our conference network, and all access pass all give you access to screenings, and you can pull one ticket per film as long as they're not concurrent films. So you can see as many films as you can fit into your schedule, which is great. So the only thing you can't do is you can't pull a ticket for a 3 p.m. film at one venue and a 3:30 film at another because they overlap. But beyond that, the sky's the limit to see as many films as you can. There's 2 ways to pull those tickets. One is in person on the day of the screening with your pass, and you do need to be with your pass. You can't give it to someone else. And you can go to the box office at that venue and pull a ticket. Or you can now do it online with your pass, but you can go online same day, starting at 8 a.m. that day, and pull a ticket. The other thing I want to mention is that just because a ticket is public rush doesn't mean that you can't access it as an industry delegate, because we do have industry holds. So you still want to be able to go to that theater, go online, see if you can pull an industry ticket, because it may be off sale for the public, but still on sale for you. So just be aware of that. And even if it is in public rush, don't panic. If you get there early, you can get in line and you can still have access to that film if there are seats available. So just keep that all in mind. And then our programmers couldn't be here today because they are very busy watching all of the films that have been submitted and trying to figure out what films will be in our program.
Maybe one of yours.
Exactly. But they have sent us a couple of tips. And so these tips really are focusing on, maybe your film gets into Hot Docs this year, or your film gets into another festival this year, and really talking about how do you take advantage of that opportunity and best leverage it. So the first thing is, I know it's really hard. I know, making a film is expensive and coming to festivals can be expensive, but try and hire a publicist for your film. Don't just rely on the festival publicist. At Hot Docs, our festival publicist is trying to build excitement and stories for over 200 films. And so you really want someone who's advocating for your film specifically, who has the time to reach out to their contacts, to build stories, to really understand you as a filmmaker and your film. And so try and find that money to hire a publicist. It really is money well spent, especially if this is your world premiere or if you're going to one of the bigger festivals with your film for the first time. If you can, try and have a sales agent or distributor on board before you come to the festival. You want to be using your opportunity at Hot Docs to try and push forward the distribution for your film. If you don't have them on board, now is the time to really be doing that active work to meet sales agents and distributors while you're at Hot Docs face to face to try and push that forward. And so taking advantage of some of the programs that Julian runs, like having your film in the doc shop or participating in Distribution Rendezvous, are great ways to try and push that forward with your film. Embrace your public screenings, come to your Q&A with enthusiasm. We have a great audience here in Toronto. We have some really great Q&As, and it's a really rewarding experience to kind of talk to your audience. One of the best things I think about Hot Docs as a filmmaker having your film here is that you will have a nice big house, because our Toronto audiences really love coming out to see our films, which is great. And then this is true whether you get into Hot Docs or not. Keep submitting your film to other festivals. Don't rely on a single festival strategy. Apply to as many festivals as you can. Build a festival strategy. Know where you want to try and screen and in what order, and really try and prolong that life of your film at your festival run, and try and build accolades, build awards, and all of that as much as you can. And just because you get turned down by one festival, don't be discouraged. We get thousands of applications every year, submissions every year to Hot Docs, and we can only take a very small amount. And just because your film isn't accepted to Hot Docs doesn't mean that there's not 20 or 30 other festivals out there that want your film. So please don't be discouraged. Please keep submitting your film to other festivals. And then finally, when you come to a festival like Hot Docs, where there's so much industry here, you not just want to push forward your current project, but you want to be able to start having those conversations about your next project. So even if it's a kernel of an idea, it's in very early development, start thinking about how you want to talk about that film, because you will inevitably get asked what's next. Even if you feel like you just finished giving birth to this last film, you're definitely not ready to think about the next one. You want to have that kind of start of an idea that you can talk to people about, because they're going to want to know, and you never know what you'll be able to push forward at Hot Docs. So that's kind of it for our official program. I want to thank everyone who has stuck with us so far. We're going to take questions in just a minute, but I also just want to thank, you can't see her, but Gisela is behind the camera here, and she's our industry coordinator. She's part of our team, and she's, along with Madeline, done a lot of work to make this all happen, so thank you, Gisela. And I also want to say that one of the best tips if you're coming to Hot Docs for the first time is come and say hi to us. Because we are out and about at all of the events. We're super friendly. We want to meet you. We're happy to answer your question in real time, in real life. And so please don't be afraid to come up and say hi and let us know that you checked out this boot camp. So I think Madeline is going to let us know what questions have come in, and we'll try to do our best to answer them.
Yep, we have a little bit of time, and we have 3 good questions, some of which we covered some of these things, but always good to touch back on them. I like how everyone is treating this like a Instagram live, and there's lots of emojis for that. Destiny has a question. Hi, I just want to clarify, if I'm a first-time attendee with an all-access pass, is there something specific I need to do in order to ensure access to the forum, or is it first come, first serve? And feel free to fight over those questions.
Yeah, your pass, your all-access pass gets you access to the forum. The only thing I would say is when the session starts, we close the door. So there's no entry between pitches. Make sure that you come early so that you can be there to sit down and watch all of the pitch. Make sure you bring your pass with you. You won't be able to get in at the door if you forgot your pass at home.
Yeah.
So make sure you have it on you, and take advantage of it, because it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it's great.
Sunita's question is, what programs are available for emerging filmmakers? What is the best strategy you suggest for emerging filmmakers to make their hot docs experience a success? And maybe you can point to like one or two things that we had touched on that are important within the presentation that we just discussed.
I think I'll start with that one. So I'll say I think my first thing that I'll say is congratulations. You've already done step one, which is attending this boot camp and getting to know hot docs a lot better. So you're on the right track. The second thing I would say is if you're emerging and you just want to learn more about the industry, I think a really great start is either the Kickstart Pass that we mentioned, which gives you access to sessions that are curated specifically for emerging filmmakers in mind. And it's a combination of creative sessions and business sessions. And that's a really great place, not just to learn about the industry, but also meet other emerging filmmakers and develop a great cohort. So that, again, that day is for Wednesday, May 6th, so mark that in your calendar. If you're looking for something a little bit more robust, you can access the conference or conference and networking pass, which gives you access to more sessions as well as films, as Stephanie mentioned. As Stephanie mentioned, the Kickstart Pass does not give you access to tickets for film screenings, but a conference or conferencing and network pass does give you access to that. So again, if you want to have a more robust hot docs experience, I recommend that so that you can do a combination of learning as well as learning through film. Any other tips
Yeah, I mean, I think, as an emerging filmmaker, if you're spending the money on a pass, because we know it is an investment for you, you want to make the most on that investment. So I would do a couple things. I would think about what your actual goals are for the festival. What do you want to get out of it? And then go through the program and look at, the amazing conference sessions that Olena has scheduled, look at what the networking events are, figure out, kind of map out what you want to try and attend. And then I would also say, push yourself a little out of your comfort zone to try and meet people. Some people aren't maybe comfortable at big happy hours with, alcohol and that kind of socializing. So find other ways to do it. If you're sitting in a conference while you're waiting for it to start, just introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you. I actually have a really good industry colleague, friend that's how I met. He was sitting beside me and he started asking me about my brand new phone. And so sometimes it's just, talk about something else and you never know who you're going to find. But it's really just about having kind of a plan going in, I think, instead of spinning your wheels and kind of feeling overwhelmed and lost.
Yeah.
That's where the online community can also come in handy. As we touched on before, it's a space where you can see who else is attending the festival and reach out to them directly. So again, maybe if approaching somebody at a happy hour is a bit intimidating, if you're on the ball before the festival, give them significant notice because their schedules may fill up really quickly, but by all means, reach out to them and see if they have an opportunity to meet for 15 minutes just to make an introduction.
Yeah. I would say everything that my colleagues have just said is like really understanding your goals, especially if you're there as an emerging filmmaker and you want to learn about the different forms of documentary, or how to tell a story about this topic in a few different ways. Watch films. If you want to meet people, especially from the international community, go to the networking parties. Set a goal for yourself on maybe how many people you want to just say hello to, especially if you have some social anxiety or you just don't know where to start because the room is full of people and it's really loud. But we have so many different areas and different types of events that you can do that would surely reach your goals. So just figure out what your goals are. And if you have additional questions, just give us a shout after this video.
One quick question about Cross Currents Canada, part of the Canadian Storytellers Project. What are the funding amounts for Canadian features and what are the funding amounts for shorts?
For shorts, I believe it's up to $30,000. Maybe you can
Sure. In French or in English?
So we do both.
Yeah, so as Heidi mentioned, so there is for Cross Currents Canada Doc Fund, there's the short form and there's the feature length. I'll start with short. So for short, you can ask for up to $10,000 for the development of your short. For the production or post-production of your short, it's up to $30,000. For a feature length and that can be up to 100% of your development budget. For the feature, it is up to $30,000 for development, up to $50,000 for production or post-production, but that is only up to maximum 50% of your total budget.
Yeah.
So those things to keep in mind, and there's also more information in French if you are out there on our website as well. So.
We have time for one final question, and it is the question is, who has access to the happy hours and what happens at the happy hours?
So access for the happy hours are conference and network pass or an all access pass. So you will not have access if your pass is a Kickstart pass or a conference pass. The happy hour, it's basically the great big tent. It's lots and lots of industry. It is a bunch of food. So finger food, it's not your full dinner, but there's lots of delicious stuff. And there is an open bar. So there's alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. And it's just a really big networking event. So it's a great opportunity to meet people who are coming to the festival for different reasons. You know, you can meet guest filmmakers there who have films at the festival. You can meet the decision makers who are there sitting at the table at the forum. You can meet, you know, our emerging filmmakers who are coming through our lab programs or other ways. You can meet international delegations. They define co-producing partners. So it's, you know, it's really an opportunity. It's the one kind of place that everyone in the festival is together in one space.
Yeah, and bring your business cards, and if you don't have any, bring some Post-it notes with your names on it.
That's it.
Great. Thanks for coming.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.